My name's Chuck Duncan with Eaton Corporation. I'm on site to do the startup on the newly purchased gear for the service entrance. I've been coming out here since '08. I work for a couple of different companies. If everybody make sure they sign in on the sign-in sheet there, it looks like almost everybody's done it. And only include your email address if you want me to send you information. I mean, most people take me up on that opportunity, but basically, so the agenda for this training today, it sounds like we would like to get most everybody hands-on experience out there. Is everybody in this room pretty much going to have exposure or operate the switchgear? Or is it pretty, do you have operators ever do switching, or is that just the electricians on site? Okay.
I hope I don't have to switch.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, but bottom line is, you're dealing with, electrical power. It doesn't matter if it's medium voltage, low voltage. Just respect it. You can't see it, and nobody needs to be a hero or save the day, risk their life. So we'll definitely. On the handouts I have here, you'll see this one sheet. It's just the overline of the training over the medium voltage switches, and then the metering and panel boards. So I haven't seen the panel boards that you all have purchased, but I know there's some that you've gotten. I'll go into as much detail as people want, but just since we have a wide variety of mechanical, electrical, and operators, and probably some admin, I'll try to present my training in such a manner that if you'd like something further, more for your specific tasks, we could do it out there in the field. Another handout you'll see, this 11 by 17. It's just this is for the 013 lineup, or the west, the one closest to the fence. So I just like to print these out because everybody likes on the very front page. There's a 3-line diagram, and just shows your basic lineup of the gear. Out there you have 5 sections, and on the first and fifth section are switches. On the 013, the first section is actually your tiebreaker, and your number 5 section is your main. So you have the ability to tie the 013 and the 026 systems together. There is a Kurt key interlock system. Everybody should understand that. And there are some spare keys, and the spare keys either need to be destroyed or kept in strict. They should never leave the site, but they should always be kept in supervision control. Nobody needs to be running around with them in their pocket, because some places have a policy to destroy the key, so there's no way to bypass it. But I recommend, as long as you have good supervisory control, it's okay to keep them. And if you ever, on any of your Kurt keys out here, if you guys anybody's unsure of how to get a new Kurt key, I could send you information how to contact Kurt key. I can't request your Kurt keys. The site has to request them because it's a safety concern, and so the site takes complete ownership of the. So sections 2, 3, and 4. Let's just use the 013 as an example. So section 4 is actually where all your control power comes from, is derived from, and on 026 it's going to be section 2. But so in this main control section, you have your control power transformer, your potential transformer, which your control power transformer is just basically taking the the medium voltage, the 12470, and dropping it down to a 240/120 circuit, and then you also have your PT circuit, your potential transformer, and that's taking your line voltage off your bus and making it useful for metering, and then it'll be powering up IQ 4000 meter. So we're in that IQ 4000 meter, you have the ability to monitor all your power, your voltage, your amperage, it can convert quite a few things. However you all want to set it up, and it's going to be communicating back to your EPMS or your. Do you call it SCADA or EPMS out here? I mean, some people call SCADA systems EPMS, even though it's SCADA. Okay, so that IQ 4000 will be reporting back over a comm line, 485 comm line, and giving your SCADA system readout of what the gear is monitoring out there. So, and then also in that same section 4 on 013, you have your you have a control panel that has your lighting on it. And your lighting will be showing your for your blown fuse, and it has your blown fuse indication, which is, if you look at the top here, section 3, you see a little amber light. And then in that same section, there's a white light, and that's just showing your spring is charged. And then each of the switches and sections in sections 2 and 3, they have switch positions in there that for your south and north lineups, it'll show you the switch being open or closed, and that's indicated with open is green and closed is red. And all these push buttons out there are press to test, so it's just a quick, easy test. If you don't see one on, it should illuminate just by pressing the test. They're all LED, so there shouldn't be any issue on them for years to come. And then I believe purchasing this gear and and then having us actually do the acceptance testing. I work for Eaton Service Group, which is separate from the factory. And by having us do this gear, you automatically get, I think, a 2-year warranty on all the parts and out for service. I've worked at Eaton for 2.5 years. I worked at Siemens for about 8 years, and I also worked for Sigma 6 for a NETA testing company for a little over a year. And so if there's any questions on this gear or any of your gear out here, always feel free to contact me. You'll have my contact information. If you keep a card, you'll have it that way, but if you wrote your email address, you'll have it in your email as well. But feel free to contact me about any question. It doesn't have to just be on Eaton gear. My bottom line is, if I could help you out over the phone, great, or get you information or get you connected with somebody that could resolve your issue. So out on the gear in the in sections 2 and 3 on the 013, these have the ability to shunt trip or open remotely, and most switches out there, like your sections 1 and 5, they do not have those switches are manual. The only way they'll change position is if you actually physically go out and open it. But on these shunt trips, that's on this particular gear, that's a special feature that you want to fully understand. There's some audible alarms out there, so like if you do close the switch and you need to leave the spring in the charged position in order for it to have the ability to shunt trip. You know, the switch will just be like the other switches in section 1 and 5 if you do not charge it. And I'll demonstrate that out there. And there's an audible alarm. I'd recommend, since it's on a switch, the horn switch, I would check I don't know how often you do rounds on inspection, but I would check those regularly, you know, to make sure the switches are in the on position, so that, you know, if let's say I'm sure a spring wouldn't just discharge, but it would indicate there's a problem when you're walking away from the gear. If that horn switch is on and the spring isn't charged, you'll definitely, with that horn switch on, you'll hear that audible alarm, and that's telling you, hey, my spring's not charged. So yeah, there's not a whole lot of components in this gear. It's just you know, you have 4 switches in the 5 sections. Your meter is actually powered off of your PT, so your meter won't be on unless you actually have power, the switchgear energized. If that's something later you guys decide you want to change, there's definitely workarounds around that, but it would require you bringing control power over to it. So here on this one line schematic right here in this section, right in here, so section 2C, that's where you'll see your PT. It's actually wired up into a it's a wide open delta connection. So open delta, you're just taking the B phase and grounding it. You're using A phase and C phase with that. Yeah, so don't expect, like, if you ever went up to your meter and you know put and tried to read the voltages, you wouldn't have, you know, the PT takes your voltage down from you know 12,470 and brings it down to 110, and so you wouldn't see voltages on A phase, B phase, C phase. So that's just something to pay attention if you're ever in there troubleshooting. Now the nice thing on this gear, what a lot of people don't install, this gear has the blown fuse indication. So on the fuses, I don't know how many have seen a blown fuse on a medium voltage switch, but it's just a flag. It pops up from the top of the fuse, and you know, so when you install the fuses, it's important that they're in the upright position. These ones out here, you can only put them in one way. You'd have to go way out of your way to do it wrong. So Yeah, it's been done. Yeah, yeah. And I know, speaking with Bob yesterday, you do have some spare fuse links. You don't have the fuse, so if you have a blown fuse, you would have to replace the actual link inside. I don't know if anybody's done that here before, but it's there's a, you open it up, there's a spring, and the fuses come with a tool, and it connects to the spring, and you have to pull it out. But definitely, somebody that's done it before, you'd want them to do it, ensure that it's done correctly. And it's outlined in these manuals. The other handout I've given you all is for the medium voltage switches, the MVS they'll call them. And inside this manual is a lot of good information. Think on the common renewal parts. You have is on the very last page, which I think is 28, but it's the very back page. But would I keep every one of these parts in my no, the only thing I would keep is the fuse, and if you perform maintenance like I've noticed this site has done pretty regularly, you're gonna discover problems by when you're out there performing the maintenance. But I would definitely these common renewal parts. This is more like if you're going to be cycling these switches, but you all don't do much switch cycling out here, right? It's on and up and going until the next maintenance cycle. It seems like out here. Yeah, we don't want any downtime out here. Yeah. So on these medium voltage switches, they all have they all have arcing blades, and that's one thing on your rounds. You could go by and do a visual inspection, make sure they're set in there, snug. It's just a good thing to look at periodically. These all have inspection windows. The lubricating, that'll only be done when you're having maintenance. These ones I've just went through them. They're pretty well lubricated. So when we're out there, we'll do some soft closes, and I'll show you the over travel and that the soft close. I think if you look on page, what is it? I think over in 17, I think is where the maintenance starts. Yes, page 17. That just basically tells you an inspection schedule. I know working at a NETA company, if you have a high equipment failure, you're going to increase your inspection rate until it's proven reliable. So typically, if it's on a critical piece of equipment, they'll say check annually, and if you're having issues annually on it, you could bump it all the way down to monthly if need be. But the goal is to get your maintenance window out to 3 to 5 years on these. A lot of places will call it triannual, or they'll just pick a third of their gear every year to go through, if possible, and do your maintenance. But on page 17, it also talks about your dielectric test values, and I could send you. I'll send out also the maintenance testing standards that's been established by testing companies, and also in that maintenance testing standard, the MTS, documentation, it also talks about periodic inspections and when, and it has recommendations on how often to do those inspections. You have copies of those? They're just the NETA. There's NETA acceptance testing, and then there's also NETA maintenance testing. They're basically the same document, but you get in a lot of, some of the NETA tests are considered destructive testing. And, and so in maintenance on especially cable that's been in service, you would probably only, it's what recommended now to just do your VLF, your very low frequency testing, instead of the old way of doing DC high pots, and because that's actually considered destructive testing. Let's see on this next. Try to look for the slow close on here. So on this page 18, it's just talking about open close adjustments, but unless you're having a problem, these adjustments aren't going to change. The only times I've seen them change is in shipping, and or if somebody's gotten in there, you just start turning on things without understanding what they're doing. But as little as these switches are going to operate, I doubt if anybody would ever need to do any adjustment except during the periodic maintenance testing. And let's see, I'm trying to see, there's a okay, so your flicker blade on page 20. If there is a part that might need to be replaced, let's say there was a need to open the load under the switch under load, or but to me, you'd have to have a lot of operations just because the design of these flicker blades. When you're doing your checks, doing your slow close, that slow close is actually for checking your flicker blades on how it actuates inside the arc chute and releases, how it goes into it. Maybe it's on. It's always look different when you're looking on the printed copy versus on your laptop. Let's see. There's a comment in here I'm looking for that it actually says, open close is for specifically checking your flicker blade alignment. But we'll demonstrate that. We'll demonstrate that out there, and let's see. But I would say the biggest mistake that people make on these medium voltage switches is that they don't understand the interlocks, or some, the door's not completely closed, or some, maybe it was installed properly, and not really checked out, and they just set the gear and walked away from it. But that's not going to be the case here. But yeah, so another thing I've seen people do on the medium voltage switches that do have the Kirk keys, they actually have a tendency sometimes to not notice that the Kirk key is engaged and the shaft is in the, let's say the switch is locked open, and you have a Kirk key that the cam is up in the switch with it locked open. I've seen people actually you know, because you have a long lever bar, I've seen them power through that, and it just bends the, you know, the switch all up. To, you know, it's, huh?
It's a lot easier than it should be.
Yeah. Yeah, and then what I like is that they say, well, I shouldn't have been able to move it. And I'm like, well, you have a 3-foot bar on there, and you know, they.
It really wasn't very hard.
Yeah, and that, you know, that's, I mean, I've seen through all switchgear manufacturers, they're all going to the same, you know, cheaper metals and thinner, not, you know, there's nothing really robust and beefy out there anymore. A lot of ways, and I don't even know if you could order the robust option anymore. Yeah, they're just scary with the price, I'm sure. Now, if there's ever, now what I noticed about this gear, its configuration, if you ever wanted to add any arc flash reduction, it wouldn't be that hard to do on the gear. You just install some light sensing and a relay that would trip out the feeder to those if that's something. You know, there's a few companies out there that do it. But I noticed that's on medium voltage gear. A lot of times people are ordering arc flash, you know, arc flash reduction options, but it's not like you ordered it and you can never go do it. It's actually fairly easy to install. It's more of it's just the engineering and the design to get, you know, calculate everything and what you actually need. Let's see. So warranty on these items. If you know, like I was saying, I believe there's a 2-year warranty on this. If there's any issues, concern, the best person to get a hold of is you can contact my manager directly. He's good about responding, but the project manager for this, which is Connie, or you know, Bob, he should be able to. I know, you know, when I came to the site, it sounds, I mean, you guys have been getting you know, not getting your answers, and if you want to contact me directly, I have no problem with it. I have a tendency to, you know, I don't like people mad at me. By the time I leave here, I hope that, you know, you feel you could approach me and that you'll get an answer for, you know, something. I take some ownership on it. I don't mind coming here. You know, Olympia is a fun town sometimes, but it's in town for me now since I live on this side of the state finally. But so yeah, it's a warranty. You know, you could call the Eaton. They encourage you to call the 1-800 numbers listed on the gear, or it's on this on these manuals too. This is called Eaton Care. And if you do call that number, if you do go that route, you would want to have the GO number off the gear. That's the first thing they're going to ask you, and that's just the sales order number. And I think it's like LSE. It's even on. Is it on these print? Yeah, it's this right here on your drawing. This GO number right here by the 2. That number there is the number you're going to want to have when you call that, and then when you call and give them that number, they'll have a list of who to contact and everything. But you know, it's a lot of times with electrical though, you don't have time to call I need help right now, and so if you have a personal contact, you know, myself, if you call me, I can respond and get the ball rolling. since I'd be the one doing the work anyway, or if you want to call my manager and he'll call whoever he has available, or the sales guy. I just know with electrical, the less barriers, the better. So, yeah, but if it's something that is not urgent, you want to try Eaton Care, call that number. But I know some customers, they just want to, there's no wrong way to ask for help. Yeah, and this, like, I know not everybody here was involved, but like Michelle and Jeff and Paul and Bob, I was talking with our project manager yesterday, Connie, and she was pretty excited and disappointed, and she's asking for answers why it was so hard for us to get, the finalized as-built drawings. It shouldn't have been that difficult. So, I mean, that's something internally we have to work out and stuff. But unfortunately, it caused some strains. And thank you all for not beating me up too bad. But yeah. So, does anybody have any questions on the drawings, or do they want to? I think with this gear and this group of people, the best thing would be to go out onto the switch gear. The meter. If you look on this next page of this tray. Let me get it. I hope that's the only one that's stapled that way. I just opened up. You guys have the next page, all digital power meters, right? Okay. The one I had was just another duplicate of that, but I had spares, thankfully. So, like out there on the meters, I mean, the only electricians are going to be going out trying to scroll through and gain information on that, probably, right? Or, I mean, how much do you want to go over all the dip switch settings and?
As long as I get a list of what you did, that's fine.
Yeah. No, the test form will indicate all the position of all the switch. There is software you can use to connect up to it. If you want to get real fancy on figuring out all your power consumptions and.
Software is free.
I believe so. And so the limited version that will, yeah. But same thing. If call the same people for the. If there's any issues on the meter as well. The unfortunate thing on these meters that the gear needs to be energized, but I actually brought a power system simulator, a Doble 3-phase power supply. I'll be connecting up to it just so that we get the meter operational and that you guys could see it. And display, and then when we're out there in the field, if there's anything that I failed to show you and you want to see, feel free to ask, and then also out there, if it's like, if I want you guys saying, hey, this is what we ordered, this is what we got, if there's any other options or anything that you would like to see, feel free to bring it up, and I'll do my best to get it resolved to your guys' liking. You guys have those IQ meters, I believe, in other locations in the facility. They're a lot of times they're typical on motors, to limit operators on how many starts you can do, and but that's why the operator usually has a bypass key, no. Yeah, I've seen that before. Yeah, they're, you know, when you're out there switching, just follow your company's, you know, stated policies. And now, are we doing the power system study for? So, are
We've already done it.
okay? Have the labels been affixed?
It's not quite approved yet.
Okay.
There's still one section.
Yeah.
I think he has them all ready to go.
Okay. Yeah, and then as far as the panel boards, they're, you know, are they hinged at all, or are they?
I
Yeah, the-
think the panel board stuff, they're not really interested in it this time.
Okay.
If there is questions and Paul has some, then that's my understanding is you guys can-
Okay.
We'll contact you and see if we need some more information, but right now I don't
Okay.
think that's an item we need to get into.
Yeah, I'll get you O&M manuals all day long. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
makes it easier for you.
Yeah. Okay. Does anybody have any questions and stuff before we go set up out? I'm going to need about 15, 20 minutes to go set up out in the field, and we'll get this all transitioned. The recording. Does anybody have any questions or?